Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Rahman Digital Production. This is lecture number 72 of physics. In the last few lectures, we discussed the concept of conduction, convection, and radiation. In today's lecture, we will discuss the consequences and everyday application of energy transfer. So, first of all, we have to discuss some consequences of conduction, in which the first one is trapping air to use as insulators. Ladies and gentlemen, birds have feathers and mammals like cats or polar bears have fur to trap air. Air is a very good insulator of heat. This will minimize heat loss from their warm bodies to the cold surroundings during winter or on rainy day. What about the human? Human beings need clothes to trap air since we have very little hair on our bodies to keep us warm, and that is what I wrote in the yellow box. Human beings use clothes. So ladies and gentlemen, that was the first consequence, that was the first one of the consequences. Now the second one is different sensations from good and bad conductors of heat. If you touch the metal knob of a door on a cold day with one hand and the wooden portion of the same door with the other hand, you will feel that the metal knob is much colder than the wooden portion of the door, even though they are at the same temperature. The reason lies in the fact that metal is a much better conductor of heat than wood. So, this means that the metal conducts heat away from your hands much more rapidly than the wood. What does it mean? It means that when you touch the metal knob, your hands are warmer as compared to the metal knob, and heat always flows from hot body to the cold body. So from your hand, the hotness is transferred to the metal knob very quickly, and at that particular portion of your hand you are feeling very cold. While because wood is not that much good conductor of heat as the metal knob is, so in that case, when you touch that wooden portion of the door with your hand, then heat will slowly transfer to the wood, and as a result you will not feel that much colder. So this is a different sensation from good and bad conductors. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I told you why is happening, the same effect is felt if you walk with your bare foot on a marble floor followed by the walking onto a carpet. You will again feel that the marble floor is colder than the carpet. So keep these things in mind, that sometime you are bearing these consequences of heat transfer. So it is written here in this box, touching on a cold day metal knob with one hand and the wooden portion of the same door with another hand will make you feel that the metal knob is much more colder than the wooden portion of that door. Okay, those were few consequences of the conduction. Now we are talking about some everyday application of conduction, uh, where we can apply the concept of this conduction in our everyday life. So we are going to use of good conductors of heat. We always use good conductor of heat for specific reasons. So that is why I wrote here the first one. Uh, where we are using this conductors, good conductors, if heat is needed to flow quickly through a substance, good conductor of heat are used. For example, uh, the following are the usage of good conductors, because in cooking we need to transfer the heat as quickly as possible. So this concept of good conductors are used inside the cooking utensils. So if heat is needed to flow quickly through a substance, good conductors of heat are used. Some examples of the use of metals, which means good conductors of heat, are cooking utensils. Cooking utensils like kettles, saucepans, and boilers are usually made of aluminum or stainless steel where direct heating is involved, and that is in cooking. I given you few figures in which there is a boiler, there is a kettle, and there is a saucepan. The second one is the soldering iron rods. Ladies and gentlemen, those who are familiar with the usage of soldering, then there is also a transfer of heat is needed with that wire, which is used for connection of two broken links on a micro level, not that much of bigger level. So we are using soldering iron rods, which are made of iron with the tip made of copper. Why? Because copper is a much better conductor of heat than iron. That is why we are using the tip of that soldering material of copper. The other portion is made up of aluminum. So that is used for, the other portion is made of iron. Now the third usage is heat exchanger. This needs a little bit explanation, so I will go in a bit detail. These heat exchangers are used for many purposes where heat is required to do to perform a specific job. Now we can use that in the dryer machine where we are drying the clothes. Also it can be used for room hotness to raise the temperature of the room in cold areas of the world. And there are industrial usage of these heat exchanger is also available in on commercial basis. So let me tell you that in this heat exchanger there is a copper tube. This one is a copper tube, and that is used to exchange the heat. Specifically, we are talking about the laundry heat exchanger. So hot dirty water is used to enter in this inlet, and directly they are going through this outlet, and that is a dirty water, because we don't need that water for any other purpose. When this hot dirty water is entering into this tube, ladies and gentlemen, this is only one tube shown here in this figure, but there are many tubes there in the heat exchanger. This is a particular part of that heat exchanger. So cold water, clean cold water is entering in this area, and then the warmer clean water is coming out from this outlet portion. Dirty hot water is entering at 57 degrees Celsius, and it is getting out with 37 degrees Celsius. While this cold water is entering at 25 degrees Celsius, and when heat is exchanged with this cold water and they are coming out here, so they are at the 35 degrees Celsius, and it means that this is increasing the temperature. Because copper is a good conductor, so it is exchanging the heat from hot dirty water with the clean cold water, and we are taking this hot water used in laundry when we are washing the clothes, and as a result we can save a precious fuel. Let me tell you that heat exchangers such as those used in the laundry enable precious fuel to be saved. The figure which we are observing showing a heat exchanger used in a laundry that is made of copper, a very good conductor of heat. Let me again repeat, the hot dirty water obtained from the hot wash is used to heat up the cold clean water by rapid conduction of heat through the walls of the copper tubing. And that is what I told you. So, this is another very useful application of conductors in our daily lives. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to discuss now uses of bad conductors of heat. And if I am technically calling it as insulators, bad conductors are heats are also called insulator, and that is what I told you in the last lecture as well. Can the insulator be a very useful in few situations? Let us discuss. Insulators are very useful if we want to minimize heat flow or heat loss. Some common applications of insulators are: number one, handles of saucepans. Ladies and gentlemen, whenever we are transferring the heat to a utensil used for cooking or baking, then it is very difficult to touch or handle those substances with bare hands. So, what we can do to minimize the flow of heat? So, for that particular purpose, handles of saucepans such as kettles, teapots, irons, and soldering iron rods are made of wood or plastics. Why? Which are a very poor conductors of heat. In this way, the hot utensil or iron can be picked up without scalding our hand, without burning our hands. These pictures are given to you, and you can see that the handles of every utensil is made of wood. In some cases, as you can see in saucepan, it is made of plastic. Plastic is also a good insulator, which is reducing the heat transfer to your body. Now, the second use of these conductors, in this case we are calling it insulator. So, insulators are what? The second one is the table mat. Table mats are usually made of cork so that hot kitchenware can be placed on them without damaging the tabletop. You can see in the picture that there is a table mat of cork on the meeting table. So if you are putting a hot kettle or saucepan, you can reduce the damage of the tabletop at the cost of that table mat, which is made of cork. So that is also the use of this. Now, in the third case, we are seeing the sawdust. In the older days, in the modern era, it is also used to do what? To cover ice blocks because of its good insulating nature. Sawdust, which you can see it here, are used here with a block of ice covered with it, and somebody is taking it by bicycle to home to carry it without melting. They are covered with the sawdust. Now the fourth one is wooden ladles. You can see the picture of wooden ladles are very useful for stirring or scooping hot soup, and also for scooping rice that has just been cooked. If it was of steel, then that would be difficult to pick up and put it in the plates. So wooden ladles, because they are good insulator, so we are using it in our daily life as well. Now the fifth one is woolen blanket. The woolen blanket or clothes are used to keep people warm on cold days. As discussed earlier, that this can trap air to be flown from our body to the surrounding. That is why we are using clothes to trap that air. And because these clothes and blankets are bad insulator, good insulator, and bad conductors, so we are using it for warming our bodies in winters. The sixth one is the fiberglass or felt and expanded polystyrene foam, which trap large amount of air, are employed as insulator in the walls of houses, ice boxes, and refrigerators. They are used so that coldness cannot escape out from that particular material. Double glazing is also commonly used as air is a very poor conductor of heat. These are the some example there is. In thermos, we are using double glass. This is one glass and this is the second glass, and there is air inside these double glasses. So because air is a bad conductor of heat, so that is why heat or coldness is not escaping out from this thermos. This is also polystyrene foam. This is one wall and this is the second wall, and there is air pours inside that, and that is used to trap the air not to escape out. Here in the roof space, which is this area, thick felt or fiberglasses are used, which is 10 centimeter in this area as well. So it is used that coldness or hotness should not escape from this area. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to stop it here because tomorrow is a big topic. Some consequences of convection we will discuss in greater detail. Then we will also discuss the consequences of radiation as well. So first we learn what is conduction, then we learned what is convection, and then radiation. Now we are using the advantages of those topics. So don't miss tomorrow's topic. We will discuss that in greater detail. Thank you very much for watching. Allah Hafiz.